Алло,
Алло?
ты слушаешь?
Yeah,
Let me tell you something. Son.
I'm listening.
If you voted for Biden, I respect that, and I'll take it for what it is. But if he becomes president, please stick with him when he takes away your rights, ruins our democracy, and encourages a civil war. Welcome to Chess Club, episode 12. I'm glad you are here. I'm glad you're here to expand your mind. And I have to give you a trigger warning. You won't be the same after this episode. Your neurons will have processed new information. None of us will be the same. You will be about 700 miles away from where you were. And you will be a different person in a new time and a new place. You'll be time traveling. Your matter will transform. And
Unless you're already 700 miles away from where you were, then you'll be 1,400 miles away from where you are.
Mm-hmm. So this one has some depth to it. Let's just get started. The Boogaloo.
Oh, Boogaloo Boys? You want to talk about that?
What do you mean, Boogaloo Boys? The Boogaloo is a key word.
You have not heard about the Boogaloo Boys movement?
I don't care about any movement. I just know that there's a common understanding of the word Boogaloo.
Well, the Boogaloo Boys are a right-wing militia group that is prepping for the upcoming civil war.
But you just snitched on them. Come on, David. How are they prepping?
Well, I mean, they've been going out to protests. They're obviously, stocking up guns and ammunition, all the sorts of things that any sane person with a job is doing right now.
Was it Sweden or Switzerland that made their every resident own a machine gun?
I have no idea. I've never heard of that before.
Full auto.
Actually, no, I did hear something. I don't know what country it was, but their crime rate was like basically zero, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because a well-armed population is a polite population.
Amen. So, what are these arms gonna lead to?
So speaking Civil War, right? Everyone's saying, "Oh, a Civil War is coming." I personally don't think that it's going to happen this election cycle. I don't think it's going to be a 2020 to 2024 Civil War.
I'm right there with you, but let's play devil's advocate for a little bit.
Okay, so people who are saying that there's going to be a Civil War, Republicans are bending over too much right now for there to be, but
Yep.
Say there were to be a Civil War, right? Very obviously the side with guns and people who are less
fat?
No, what's the word I'm looking for?
You ever notice how
compassionate? I was listening to Jordan Peterson. A person who is more predisposed to be a compassionate person is more likely to end up left of the spectrum, political spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at it, the traits of the left are compassionate, quote unquote, even if that is misguided compassion, it's still, compassion. And then the right, you have a lot more, I don't care about you, I care about me, myself, and my family.
Yeah, this is true.
And the right is the ones with the guns. Not very many left-leaning people own guns. I'm not speaking about classical liberals, because even a lot of classical liberals own guns. I'm talking purely like the lefties, like the cringe soy boys.
Oh yeah,
they don't have guns. So, most classical liberals would end up probably going on, if there were to be a civil war, they would go on the right side, like the libertarian conservative leaning.
Like they're just like they have mommy and they have daddy, and they were raised traditionally, but they feel that they learned a lot through their education, so they have this feeling. I have a like I don't want to like point and like label or anything, but I just feel like that set of values and morals is, I'd say, virtuous. I feel compassion is a great thing, but I feel like soy boys are in it for the altruism, like virtue signaling. As soon as virtue signaling gains you nothing, I feel like you'll appreciate the other side's values more. Because virtue signaling is a currency right now. Sorry. Like you get praise on social media, you get followers on social media. You can actually monetize virtue signaling if you do it correctly, but that's kind of worthless in a civil war environment.
That's facts. Where was I going with that? I'm trying.
You were saying libids are gonna switch, right?
So, classical libertarians are different than. So I have two terms. I have leftists and there's liberals. So a classical liberal is somebody who has, a belief in left of center, economic policy, left of center social policy. However, they're not the cancel culture, Joe
Rogan,
virtue signaling, like Joe Rogan, for example, or Jordan Peterson. He's a classical liberal. Dave Rubin is a classical liberal. Tim Pool is a classical liberal.
Yep.
Now a lefty is the cancel culture, take away your guns, take away your rights, fake rape accusations, that kind of stuff. Authoritarian left. Yep. That's absolutely the best way to phrase it. So those two sides are going to split apart and become fractional. Basically, that'll split apart the left between the classical liberal and the, libtard, the leftist.
Yeah.
So the classical liberals, which has been happening already, are going to move more towards the right.
It's been literally happening. The West Coast has been moving to Texas, Oklahoma, Montana. They're moving away from the other ideal.
Yeah. So Tim Pool voted for Donald Trump this time around. He was a very, very adamant Obama.
Did he? He was pro-Biden, wasn't he?
No, Tim Pool?
Yeah, he was all Biden 2020 and shit.
No, dude.
Bro, I'm pretty sure he voted
anti-Biden.
Bro, I'm pretty sure he sold out to YouTube and voted Biden.
No. He voted Obama in 2012.
The first one.
The first one, and then not the
second one.
Second one he didn't vote, and then he didn't vote.
Obama bombed Syrian families.
Yep.
That's why he didn't vote.
Were you first joking, day in office? Or were you...
No, yeah, I was joking.
Okay. I'm like, oh my God, he's dumb.
So how does this tie into Civil War?
So what I'm trying to kind of build up to that. So what I'm saying is classical liberals are going to move towards the right if there were to be a divide so bad that there would be a civil war. Which means now the right-leaning side of the Civil Wars, the conservative side, has numbers. Right?
Right, it does.
As long as the right side is not the side that starts the Civil War, because a lot of people would be very turned off by that,
Mm-hmm.
So basically what I'm saying is conservatives have to be pacifists in this. And, basically don't fire until you're fired upon. That's the way I'm seeing it.
Right.
Also, another thing, we're talking about Civil War. So in the first, U.S. Civil War, there was a physical line in the sand, right? There was the North and the South.
I don't think there will be one this time.
It's impossible because, the big cities, you have the liberals, but that's not necessarily the case because guess what? Conservatives live in the big cities too. And then same thing in the suburbs. I have probably just as many Biden-Harris signs as there are Trump signs out here, and I live in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, he does.
So, there's more Trump signs, but there's definitely, quite a few Biden-Harris signs.
Yeah, I've worked in a lot of places. Like I drive around a lot. I've seen so many farms pro-Biden.
Yeah.
Mainly south of Minneapolis.
Yeah. But here's my point. If this is to turn into a civil war, it's not going to be like anything we've ever seen before. This is going to be guerrilla warfare. It's going to be, it's going to look like, how we've seen, how you've seen terrorism is like, like random ISIS little attacks here and there. And like, just
okay, bro,
small things. It's not going to be a full out battlefield.
Far out there. You know that like viral picture with the Trump people with the trucks and the ISIS people with the trucks?
Mm-hmm.
Far out. I don't think they're very wrong. I know that like they're wrong in the sense of us being the bad guy because they're the bad guy. Well, no, I don't want to say. I don't want to call anybody a bad. There's bad guys in both sides. Like, let's agree on that. But the ideals that they hold, we believe, are what leads to ISIS type, authority.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there is some sort of truth to Trump supporters driving those trucks, like any sort of organization driving trucks with the intent to fight for what they believe.
I would disagree a little bit. Driving the trucks around like that is like, it's obviously like fear mongering. They're trying to.
No, that's what I'm saying. Fear mongering, the lefties fighting for what you believe.
However, that is not even my biggest quarrel with conservatives right now. The biggest thing I'm seeing on Twitter right now is the election's not over. This is not my president. Okay, the election is not over. However, as of right now, then today is what? November 7th, 2020. Joe Biden is the president-elect. Like it or not, as of right now, he has 290 electoral votes. Now, whether those are legitimate or not, I don't know. But as of right now, he is the president-elect, And you can't really change that right now. There's lawsuits pending, whatever. Election
it's a process. It's a whole process now.
Yes. But as of right now, like it or not, he is the president-elect. Which means going out there and saying, he's not this, he's not that. Guess what? Right now, Joe Biden don't care about your feelings. Yeah. So to all the conservatives who are saying like, blah, 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 he's not my president. He's not your president yet, but don't do what you mocked in 2016.
Yeah. Don't be a hypocrite.
One thing that bothers me more than anything is hypocrisy. That's a huge thing for me.
At the same time,
seeing conservatives, I want to finish this point. Seeing conservatives saying, "Oh, blah blah blah," this is all illegitimate. It might be, but at the same time, if Joe Biden ends up winning and things turn out to be legitimate, you're gonna have to suck it up and accept the fact that guess what? He's the president.
Well,
and don't get me wrong, I voted for Trump in the primary this year.
That's if you believe that we should still be a United States.
That's a whole nother point. I don't know.
That's the point of the Civil War, isn't it?
I wouldn't say so. I feel like.
What would the point of a civil war be?
To institute a new governance.
Yeah.
A new system.
Do you think we can do that while still holding unity?
It's possible. I think that's more likely than the entire everyone in the United States just saying, you know what? No, we're splitting into two factions because, as I said, there's no line in the sand. You can't split us up into two countries.
Well, what if one country is just formed?
What do you mean?
Like, what if Texas secedes?
Well, Texas can do that, but I wouldn't see the point in that. They're not self-sustainable whatsoever.
Yes, they are.
Texas?
Yeah.
I would disagree heavily.
Using what?
Texas does not produce very much food. Where are they going to get their food from? Obviously, if they secede from the U.S., U.S. is not going to trade with them.
Why would they not trade with them? It's like our main importer of oil.
Purely out of principle. every time a like a city, state, whatever has seceded from a country, they tend to have pretty bad relations for a long time.
Well, I mean, they have a good relationship with Mexico. They could have a good relationship with Mexico. But I don't know. That would be a downgrade, wouldn't it be then?
Exactly.
Would it?
It is a extreme downgrade.
Well, okay, no, think about
it.
Think about it. Actually, think about it on another one. If Texas gets all the conservatives in it and then dips, all the businesses that are anti, taxes would be in Texas.
Okay.
So all of the arguably smart people are going to be the ones that deal with Mexico from then out. And I feel like even as like, let's say it's not Texas, let's say it's Texas and a few surrounding states. So where it's like maybe a third of the size of America, actually, then maybe we could negotiate with Mexico as businessmen, not as people of different colors, just as businessmen. We're here to conduct a good trade deal. Like, let's be allies. We hold the same DNA in terms of Mexico being was evangelized somewhere like 200 years ago, maybe 250 years ago. So we have the same roots.
Well, okay, here's my thing with the Civil War, man. I don't think it's going to be civil war like you see in Libya or, like in Egypt, whatever. It's not going to be like, government versus people, that kind of thing. It's
Texas is one of the leading exporters of agricultural commodities.
Since when?
Let's see how old this is. It's literally
I'm just curious because
I'm trying to find it. It's literally one PDF sheet. It's Texas agricultural facts from texasagriculture.gov.
So they
a bit biased, but like it's a gov, so
yeah. That's interesting. I actually did not know that.
25 billion in 2012
of agricultural exports.
Yep.
Huh, that is interesting. I actually didn't know that.
No, dude, I've been telling you. Texas.
Well, okay, like I know Texas, but like,
better yet,
know that they were an agricultural exporter.
Better yet, this is how I could also picture this going. Conservatives actually, well, I can't say I picture this going, but like 1/3 allies with Mexico, 1/3 allies with Canada, or 2/3 allied with Canada.
I don't know about that. I don't think Canada would want to take on,
No, I don't think they would. Well, we are allied with them. How can you ally twice?
Are you talking about like merging?
No, I guess that's a pointless theory. Well, I mean, I guess maybe they could merge, actually.
I could not see that happening. Canada's pretty well off on their own. I don't see why they would merge with. Yeah.
Want this socialism infection?
I mean, they already have socialism infection, but that's besides the point.
What would they differ then if all the conservatives were in Texas land?
I don't think I understand your question.
I feel like there's no merit to the question regardless, so whatever, let's just move
on. Basically my issue with this whole Civil War idea is, first of all, people, I feel like, don't care enough to really take it to that point, if I'm honest.
I'm sure there's a lot of people like me, and I care enough to where I have a 3-year plan to end up in Texas.
Yeah, okay, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking.
Wait, which one are you talking? Oh, like right now, people don't care enough to start a civil war in 2021.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Because at the end of the day, people were not very hype about either candidate. It felt like for most people
were hype choosing about Trump. People were mad hype about Trump.
Yeah, but not to the extent of 2016.
Not like dying,
hype, the hype around Trump.
Not like Hitler hype.
No. God. the hype around Donald Trump in 2016 was way, way higher than now. And the voting shows that, you know. Now, whether those vote counts are legitimate or not, that's a whole nother question.
Wait,
but
then how can they show that there's less hype?
Well, if if
Donald
Trump did not flip very many people.
Well, so are the votes accurate or not?
You want my personal belief?
Well, you're giving me two sides of a coin right now.
Yeah, I am. Personal belief, I don't think they're accurate. There's a lot of evidence. Well, evidence of alleged voter fraud. However, you know, they could be accurate. We don't know yet. It could just be.
They literally can't be.
They can be.
Logically, they can't be.
Logically, they very much can be.
Oh.
They could just not be faked.
The chances of them, all 100% of them being not fraud are
well, okay.
Think about the ratio 100%. Of it being fraud or not.
Here, but what I'm saying is there could be some fraud, but, you know, remove the fraudulent votes and Biden still wins. That is a possibility. You know?
Yeah,
we could be overblowing this fraud thing a little too much, you know? Who knows? It could be that, you know, 8 million votes are fraud. Or
I could also argue against, I could argue that's being passive.
I'm not being passive. I'm just saying there's two sides to this because it could be fraud, but to the point where it's extremely substantial, you know, like millions of votes, or it could be fraud like 200,000 across the entire US and it makes absolutely no difference and Donald Trump still loses. We don't know yet. You know? So
the coin is millions of fraudulent votes versus 200 spread across?
Well, like 200, not an exact number, obviously, but like
somewhere,
you know, not a big number where it doesn't make a difference.
Sub-mil.
Where not even sub-mil, it could be over a mil, but to the point where even if those votes are removed, Biden still wins. That's my point. Because it could be fraudulent to the point where the election was stolen, or it could be fraudulent to where even if you remove those votes, Biden still wins.
There's a genius out there that figured out a really simple algorithm or formula to this. Not that I know of, but I'm sure there is one because people write algorithms to trade the entire stock market for years at a time. I'm sure there's someone that figured out every possible scenario, and it doesn't sound like there's many. Sounds like there's like 3 to 6 possible scenarios that could happen. I feel like somebody figured all 6 of those out, and if you could write this out, like go full schizo, full crazy, full insane, and like dig through all the books to figure this out, you could place like maybe $100 of very unprobable gambles on each 6 of those scenarios, and one of those will hit and return like thousands of percent, so it would cancel out the other 3 because they were so low prob. I feel like someone's going to cash in. A lot of people are going to cash in on this election so much. I feel like when people stop, I feel like when the money starts to dry up is when people start to really get emotional, or not even money, when the food dries up, people start to get very emotional and start to only care about the essentials, meaning their family. I feel like that's when then civil war becomes an option. But right now, I don't feel that. I don't feel money drying up, right? Money's very, very flowing right now. I don't feel like resources, food, there could be a famine. There could be a famine that pushes us to civil war, but I think that's the one that's 4 years away.
Yeah, I think 4 years is probably even too close. I would say within the next 10 years is possible, like a very likely
50-50
number.
50-50, either within the next 4 or within the next 10, but I would say it's inevitable. Well,
civil war is inevitable because the average lifespan of a country is 250 years.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I really didn't know that.
Like without a big issue rising up, as in election fraud to the point where a civil war happens. But the average lifespan of a country is 250 years. And guess how long America's been a thing?
200.
Just a little under 250 years. I think.
It was 1880s. I think like 240.
Yeah, exactly. Just under 250 years.
Oh, shit.
Probability says Civil War happens in the next 10 years.
Bro,
that's exactly my point.
Think about it. 2020 started the countdown. 1 decade left. This is big. This is big. Wow.
And that is my reasoning for saying 10 years.
Holy shit. Wow. Wow. Well,
I'm not just speaking out of my ass.
I'm literally speechless about this 1 decade left thing. I feel like I'm going to be stuck on that for like a week.
Well, now think that's an average. We could have an extra 10 years on top of that. But that's how our elections are set up. Yeah.
No, подумай. 7 лет is how long the tribulation? 7 лет is how long it's going to last.
Yeah.
So within the next 3 years, something's going to happen. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. That's for the Russian tinfoils. That's really far out there. That's
not even far out.
That's not even that far. I could translate that into English, and a couple people out there would have a click moment and understand what I said.
Here, I'll translate it slightly and put it in the reviews and comments if you get it. 7 years of tribulation. What's one more word I can throw in there?
I think that's plenty.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, if we really want to throw the clueless people out there a bone, though, what do we say? Let's be really vague, bro. We could have teased them for a little bit.
You can always mute that, or put a beep.
But all right, let's leave them with one more word. Let's give them a fighting chance to crack this puzzle.
Hold on. The bear and the eagle become one.
Let's go, baby! Yeah. Wow. I hope everybody listening to this is waking up as excited as we are every fucking day.
Yeah. I'm ready to go home, you know?
Bro, I'm ready to take advantage of opportunity when she knocks, because that bitch FaceTimes you. If you don't get your pants on, she's leaving the fucking driveway. Like, I'm sorry, you gotta be prepared.
This sounds like an analogy that's a little too like specific.
Thank you guys for listening, happened, bro. Thank you guys for listening to our prophecies. About that last one, I'd like to also relate that to a story from the Bible with you about the 10 bridesmaids from Matthew 25, where there's 10 bridesmaids and they were waiting for the grooms, and they had to wait through like the night, and so they had lamps with oil, and 5 of the bridesmaids brought extra oil, so they were prepared, and the other 5 did not, so their lamps ran out. So when the grooms got there, they couldn't find them, so they bounced because they weren't ready. Opportunity came and it bounced, but the 5 bridesmaids that had the oil on deck, they got to go with it. They got to go with opportunity. See what I'm saying? So that's just the relationship I had in my head. Personally, I just cuss. I don't curse. I don't believe in bringing in realities that you're tied to, because I believe in redemption. So sometimes I'll say words you might not appreciate, but I promise it's coming from a professional declaration. Thank you for listening this far into the episode, by the way, and as always, listen harder.